Book talk, you failed me. I'm obsessed. I am obsessed. This might be a little too bright, no? Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I realized I never filmed an intro to this video, so I'm going to be filming it now. So hi from your future. Teddy says hi too. So this video, I thought it would be a cool idea if I can try to read my December TBR in a week. If you guys did not see my previous video, my November wrap up and my December TBR, I will link it down below where I picked 3 books to read. Well, 4 books really. One I did end up DNFing. I did pick 3 books to read and I decided to try to read it in a week. So I will be taking you guys along a full week of reading my December TBR, and I hope you guys enjoy, and let me know right now if you think I completed it or not. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get started to day 1. I do not like the mother in this story. Don't mind my medieval music I'm playing while I try to immerse myself into this story. This mother is so evil. She's so sneaky. I don't like her. That just took a turn. So who was this? Who is this? I just finished Grave Mercy, and I also listened to the audiobook as well because I was at work for most of the time while I was reading this book, and this baby is not light. It's not a light read. It is very dense. This book took place in the 1400s. It was a lot going on in this book, a lot of characters we were introduced to, a lot of movement, a lot of journeys that took place. There was times in this book where I was giddy and excited. There was times in this book I was like, oh,
what is going on?
Some of the characters shocked the crap out of me, and I was like, there's no way that they said this. It starts off with our FMC Ismay, and she was basically cursed by this herb witch from birth because her mom did not want her. So she is born with like this big scar on her back where she is sire to Death himself. She is then forced into this marriage by a man who ends up beating her. She also comes from abusive father who was the reason why she ended up in that abusive marriage in the first place. So she runs away. She's end up taken to like this cellar where they end up taking her to a convent where they serve Saint Mortain, and he is basically the god of death. The journey starts with her trying to prove that she is worthy of fulfilling Death's duties, and in return she's then trained to become an assassin to help Death, you know, kill the ones that are marked. So they're marked by the way that they are going to die. So if he is to die by his hands would light up, or if he is to die by his throat will have a mark on it. So she goes and finds these men that are marked by death and she kills them. She ends up having to go on an assignment to save the Duchess, and the story kind of goes from there. You know, I truly don't understand how to explain it without like spoiling it, but it was very entertaining with a lot of characters, a lot going on in the plot, a big journey in this book. I did enjoy the Duchess. She was such a cute girl. I loved the dynamic of her and our FMC, the banter that they shared. It was no spice in this book, but it was a cute little romance, and like certain scenes that happened in here was very cute. It happened gracefully. The book was kind of hard to get into because of the wording. Like, it takes place in the 1400s, so the book is telling of that. Like, you can hear it in the tone, but there's a lot of beautiful words. So there's a scene here, I mean, there's no context to this at all, but it says,
"Do you not care for De Lenore's beauty, Demoiselle? Beast eyes. I wrinkle my nose. I am not impressed for pretty men in general, my lord."
Like, that's kind of like how the verbiage is. I would have never thought I would have enjoyed a book like this, but it was good. I did enjoy it. I will save my ratings to the end, but I am moving on to the next book because we have to knock down this TBR. I have 2 books left. I'm gonna read Priest by Ciara Simone next. I'm in the mood for a little bit of spice, and I know that this book is spicy, so I cannot wait to get into this book. I go into most of my books blind, so after I read a bit and try to get, you know, a sense of the premise, I will come back with some thoughts. I did not get to talk as much as I wanted to when I was reading Grave Mercy, but trust me, there were times when I was reading Grave Mercy where I literally was giggling and smiling. My mouth was open like, oh no, she didn't. Like, there's no way like I was really enjoying the book that much. So I have to sit on a rating. I did rate it on Goodreads already because I just wanted to throw something out there about how I felt in that moment. But in order for me to really hone in on how I felt, how I truly felt about a book, I need to give it a few beats. I need to think about it for a second. Let's get into The Priest by Ciara Simone. I'll get back to you guys when I am a few pages in, you know, if anything interesting happens. We'll see. Part of me really thinks, like, do priests act like this? Like, there was a quote that he had mentioned early on, our MMC. He had mentioned that although he's a priest, he's still a man with urges. I always wonder, like, if that is a real thing, because I believe it. Like, I don't know about y'all, but growing up here in New York, there were a lot, not saying it's everybody, but there were a lot of people growing up in high school that were kids of people of a church or a congregation, and they didn't have the best reputation. I'll leave that there. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, this story kind of is based off of or taken from a place where a priest may have been having naughty thoughts and breaking his celibacy for a little young thing. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Ugh. I hate that word. Because if that is not me in a sentence, wow. No, I gotta highlight that, because that is me in a sentence. I just wanted to come on here and give an update. I am a few pages into Priest by Ciara Simone, and so far the story is still developing, and basically it is about this priest who meets this girl. Our MMC's name is Tyler, and he is a priest, and he is 29 years old, so he's fairly young compared to like the priest that I'm like depicting what priests look like usually older, 40, 50, 60 maybe. You know, he's in his 20s, and he meets Poppy, who is in the middle of her confessional, and while she's confessing whatever it is that she needs to confess and get off her chest, he seems to be drawn to her, just like her voice and just like, you know, the curiosity of who this female is on the other side of the screen. So they end up bumping into each other during like a morning run, and he realizes like, oh shit, like she's cute, I like her, I knew that I would like her. And he's not ugly himself, so she kind of falls a little bit for him. This happened like early on within the first like 2 chapters. Now the story's kind of just like developing, like he's learning more about her and kind of the things that she wants to confess. What I'm getting from this is that Poppy is a girl who is very privileged, comes from a good family, went to Dartmouth College, graduated, but she has like this demon to her. Like she has a side to her that she feels her parents wouldn't really accept, so she's kind of confessing that to him as someone who is not religious. So she finds it to be like a little awkward, like, you know, I'm not a religious person, I'm not Catholic, but I feel like I'm a dirty girl. She feels like she's like such a bad person that she needs somebody to confess her sins to. So that is where Tyler comes in, and the story is kind of developing from there. It's not much that really did happen. I started reading it on my Kindle. I was falling asleep while reading it. Again, nothing really has happened. I'm not going to judge this book just yet, but we're almost done with our TBR. After this book we have 1 more to go, so I'm gonna read a little bit. I'm just gonna relax until my food comes. I just ordered something to eat. We don't have that many hours in between to read and eat and watch Gilmore Girls while we eat, so yeah, I will see you guys probably while I'm at work. I'm gonna try to film a little bit of me reading, but I will see you guys for the next update. Right now I wanted to see if I could find an audiobook for the book that I'm reading, which, let me go get it. I am reading Priest by Ciara Simone. I'm not even halfway yet. I'm on chapter 10. It's literally what I expected. There's really like no major plot. You know, within the first chapter, not even, within the prologue, it says that he has been celibate for X amount of years, and this one girl comes into his parish and basically ruins that for him. So again, I'm not even that far in, but we've already had some smut in here. I don't know how I'm gonna rate that. I've read worse as in like really good, not as cringy as I thought it would be, but then again, I could change my whole mind about this book. So right now I'm kind of just reading it just for the vibes per se, and kind of to see like what happens with Poppy and Tyler. It's cool, not super obsessed. I was gonna give it to the 100-page mark, but by then I might as well just finish the book because it's like 298 pages or something like that. So yeah. We are back. I never filmed an outro as well. I suck. With that being said, I wanted to touch on a few things that I didn't talk about throughout the week. Now, one thing for sure, this was really hard to film. I did not realize how much I really did not talk, and I've never recorded a video like this before. So to try to pick up the book while I'm reading was just kind of hard because I had so much to say. And I also realized every time something happened in the book, I was not recording. Every natural reaction like that was recording worthy never made it to the film. We'll try to do better for next time. With Grave Mercy, I wanted to touch on some pros and cons that I thought about the book and my rating. I did like the setting of the book. It was like a dark academia type of setting because she was learning how to cast magic, potions. She was learning about different daggers and different types of weapons to defend herself while killing these men. I also enjoyed like the concept of a convent being full of women that are strong and obedient to the person that they're serving, and it had like a religious tone to it, and very taboo too, because the person that they are worshiping is Death, and you would think that Death is this mean and scary person. If he was to be like an actual person, you would think that he would be like something that many people were afraid of, but there was this place on earth, and I like to describe it as like a hell on earth. Like, they are horrible people that Death is trying to get rid of, or people where their time is up, and people that are just, I was gonna say people that just deserve to die, but in the book, of course. So you see Death is not as like scary, and you also see like this sense of like obedience within these females that trust their leader and their saint, that will not will them wrong, that will steer them in the right direction. But then somebody else is trying to challenge that. Like, how are you so obedient and you don't even know if the person that you are worshiping is truly giving you the best advice or really are doing things out of good intentions? So there was like that kind of conflict too, like that was like challenging somebody's faith, and I thought that was like an interesting way of like putting it. I also really did enjoy the journeys that we went on throughout this book. It was so interesting, like just the amount of traveling that we've done and the places that we've seen. At times it was like kind of hard to picture, but I think the author did a great job like reiterating certain facts or certain information, and like mentioned it several times so that you kind of understand or you don't forget this information. To some people it might be annoying because it seems repetitive, but I think with this type of book and the verbiage and the way that it's written, you need those constant reminders like, wait, who is this? What is this? I also know that I touched on the MMC. I never said his name. His name is Duval, and he is the love interest in this book. They show like a glimpse of him and his family and their dynamic, which was also pretty interesting. There was a lot of things that I left out when trying to describe this book, because if you don't know, now you know. I'm trying to be like a better book reviewer, so I took the liberty of starting to take notes. Okay, we are going to be a little more structured when we do these type of videos. Bear with me while we get our ish together. Some of the cons that I do have was the writing style. Although the writing and some of the words were very beautiful, it was just a lot to get through. Like, I was stumbling through words. I couldn't pronounce half of them. I get it for the sense of the book and the time, place, but it just was too difficult. The audiobook was really nice to listen to because half of those words I was not pronouncing right. Throughout the story, I did feel like some parts were a little bit predictable. Like, you could kind of guess what was happening next, but it wasn't too predictable where you kind of weren't interested anymore. You were always kind of interested in what was going to happen next in the journey. I did feel like there was a lot going on in the book, like something was always happening, and it was interesting. However, it wasn't interesting enough to make me want to get the next book. With all of that being said, I think I would give this book a 3.5. I did really enjoy it for what it was. Would I recommend it? It's more like a maybe for me. I would not say that this book would be for everybody. I don't think it's going to be the next best thing or the super hyped up book. It was good for what it was, but you also just have to go into the book knowing that it is written from a different time. You are really going to be in the 1400s, and you can tell, like, this book seems like it was written then, but it was still very cute. There were some characters that you did find that were very charming and funny. I wish that there was more of one of the characters in this book because I did like him. With the priest, I loved the female main character in this book. She was just like such a lost soul to me, but in like a cute, endearing way. Like, I wanted to help her myself. Like, you are lost. I also resonated with her on like the weirdest level. There was like a little part of me I seen in her, so I did feel bad for her. I guess like one thing that I can say, she was just like very reassuring. Like, she had that quality in her where if you felt unsettled at all, or if you felt unsure about something, she was going to reassure you that no, I don't want you to feel this way. I don't know why my camera keeps unfocusing. Yeah, so she didn't want you to feel a type of way. So she would basically reassure you like, no, I want to make sure that you know what it is. And I just like that she was like a smart girl that just wanted to have some fun. Some cons that I had with this book. It was very insta-lovey. I'm telling you, by the second chapter, we were already in love. Why? I have no idea. Romance at some parts was pretty cute. Other parts, it was very cringy. I did not like the pet name that he gave her. She was called Little Lamb, or just Lamb, like a lamb. I did not like it. I did not like it. It was very cringy. Not even just reading it in the book, but I also found the audiobook, and the audiobook was very cringy itself. So I did not like the lamb name. No. There was also some talk about Tyler's sister in this book, and it's mentioned like right in the first page, so you know what happens. But I wish we got more of that story and how the sister basically impacted him or any of the decisions that he had to make. I just wanted to hear more about the sister and her situation and kind of like what happened, but we didn't get a lot of that. We just kind of like know what happens, and then they touch on like bits and pieces, but it wasn't enough to make you feel anything. Like, I felt sad and bad, but I didn't really like, it didn't tug on my heartstrings. But I guess a book like this wasn't supposed to do that, but I feel like I would have liked or appreciated that a little more, or would have felt for the male character more in this book. And then leading on with that, I didn't feel like I had any connections really with the characters. I didn't feel for them as much, and I think that kind of took me away from the story. And I think the insta love just was so fast that it threw me off. So I was debating on a rating for this book because I feel like I had more cons than pros, because even while I was coming up with this list, I was trying to think like, what did I like about this book? Why did I keep reading it? Because there was parts though I did want to know what happened. It was like a little mystery that happens at the end, and we didn't know where we were going with this story. So I actually wanted to figure that out too, like what happened. And then when we found out what happened, I was just like, oh, you know, that was cute. Like, I see the thought behind what happened. And it did tug on my heart a little bit, because I was like, oh, that was a really nice gesture. I don't want to be too harsh on the rating, but I think I would give this book like a 2.5, honestly, or like a 3-star. By the time I edit this part, I would know what rating I'm giving it, but I'm stuck between a 2.5 and a 3. Would I recommend it? Probably not. Book Talk, you failed me. You guys failed me. I thought this was going to be it, and it wasn't. Now, the third book that I was supposed to read was The 7-Year Slip by, I believe, Ashley Poston. I never got to it because by the time I finished this book, I wanted to dive into something right away. So I started the Zodiac Academy. Who told me to start a 12-book series? I'm in love with the Zodiac Academy. I'm 77% done with the first book, and I do not want it to end. I'm obsessed. I am obsessed. So we did not complete our challenge, guys. I'm sorry. I thought I could, but I didn't. I'm grateful that I tried at least to conquer this, but I knew it was going to be hard with Christmas being this week and everything like that. I'm going to go finish editing this video now. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for other videos I do have planned in store, but I do just want to touch on just a few little updates that I wanted to throw in here for the next coming videos now that we're going into 2025. Moving forward, I would like to be a little more structured with my videos, so I've started like planning out the type of videos that I would want and like when I want them to be posted, so I know like what books I'm gonna be reading, and just having like a little more flow to my channel. I feel like in the beginning of this booktube journey, I was rushing a lot of my content, and although I'm very proud of it, I want to be really on my shit when it comes to editing and uploading, and I want to make sure that I'm bringing out quality videos for you guys, because half the time I just want to like turn on the camera and just record. Even looking back at this video that you guys are watching now, I look nuts. This video, to be honest, might not stay up long, but I also like the memories, like look where I started. So we're gonna just keep it, we're just gonna keep it. So I do have more of like a workflow now when it comes to filming and uploading these videos. I would like to schedule a date. So right now, tentatively, I'm looking at maybe a Sunday and Wednesday type of schedule. So don't quote me, but just be on the lookout for those 2 days, a video for me. Also wanted to mention, like, as I've been planning out my content and videos, ideas and stuff has just been brewing in this head. It's making me pick up books that I would have never like gravitated towards before. Like Grave Mercy, I've had for years. I never wanted to read it, but I felt like it was like a good premise that it would make for like a good video. It was cute, and I wish that I caught more of my reactions on camera, but we will just try for the next time. Anyway, we have been here way longer than I expected. I thank you guys. I love you guys. Cannot wait to see you in the new year. Thank you for watching this far. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.